Now that version 4.4 is almost upon us, the Dendro Archon will be on the first half alongside Xianyun. Just like I did on my previous videos, this video will talk about if Nahida is still worth pulling after the Fontaine release. Most people are probably thinking about getting her since she is mostly seen on every Dendro team you can have on the game. Just before the video starts, I just want to let you know that I have a membership, so if you guys want to help me by supporting the channel with some monetary help, I will be super glad. We are almost in the end of the month, and I want to see if those 99% will change when we get into February. Thank you so much everyone for your support. You guys have been amazing, and that only motivates me to produce even more content for you all. In this video, I will explain how Nahida works, how you can build her, and maybe I will include some abyss rotations for you to have an idea. So without any furthers, if you want to visit all my other socials, the links are on the description. Let's now talk about Nahida. Nahida is a Dendro catalyst that is focused on supporting your Dendro teams, and actually all of the Dendro teams. She's an EM buffer, but she can also be a sub DPS or even a main DPS for your teams. Her basic attacks, one thing that it's worth mentioning, their scalings are actually good. If you intend on normal attacking sometimes with your Nahida, maybe leveling this up a little bit will be good for you. Her skill has two modes, the press and the hold mode. If you just press it, she will delay with Dendro damage and will mark 8 opponents hit with her mark. If you hold it, you will enter the aiming mode, which will maybe see like Nahida is taking a photo. For those who have Charlotte, it will be basically similar to that. It will allow you to select a limited number of opponents within a limited area. During this time, Nahida's resistance to interruption will be increased, and when you release it, the skill will deal Dendro damage to these opponents and marks them. The aiming mode will last for 5 seconds and you can select a maximum of 8 opponents. What is her mark after all? With her mark, after you trigger elemental reactions to opponents affected by the mark, or when they take damage by Dendro cores, Nahida will unleash a 3 karma purification on the opponents and will connect them all, dealing Dendro damage based on her attack and elemental mastery. So basically, the damage you will do to one enemy, Nahida will be making to the other ones that you mark them. That's why you will most likely want to hold your skill all the time. You just press it if you are dealing just with 1 or 2 enemies. And you could trigger at most 1 3 karma purification within a short period of time. On her burst, Nahida will create a field that will have different purposes according to the elements on your team. For every pyro teammate you will have on the field, the damage dealt by the 3 karma purification from your skill will be increased. For every electro teammate on the team, the interval between every 3 karma purifications is decreased. And if you have hydro teammates on your team, the duration of this arena of her burst will be increased. So, to summarize, with her E, you will mark enemies alongside the field, and you will basically distribute damage that you will deal to one of them to all of them. With your burst, you will be buffing your ability even more. Her exploration passive turns your E ability into a source of gathering items. Just like it's on the name, it's just to help in your exploration. On her first extension passive, when you use your burst, the elemental mastery of the active character within the field will be increased by 25% based on the elemental mastery of the party member with the highest elemental mastery value on your team. And you can give a maximum of 250 elemental mastery in this manner. What this means is that you have, for example, a character in your team with 1000 EM. When Nahida uses her burst, the active character will get a free 250 elemental mastery. On the second ascension passive, for each point of Nahida's elemental mastery beyond 200, will grant 0.1 bonus damage and 0.03% crit rate to her karma purification from her skill. A maximum of 18% damage bonus and 24 crit rate can be granted by this. You would need to get a total of 1000 EM in the global. This is something that divides a lot of people. We were going to talk about it on the build section. To summarize all of her kit, her normal attacks just do Dendro damage, her E, you will mark enemies on the field, and you will deal damage to them with your skill every now and then, and on her burst, you will give EM to the team, and you will buff your skill based on the elements you have on their party members. Seems pretty easy, right? She's not that complicated compared to Raiden, for example. For your talent priority, focus on your skill first, then your burst, and for less your normals. For her artifacts, Nahida has 2 ways to be built. You have the support and the DPS. For support, you would want 4-piece Deepwood memories. On the 2-piece, you get Dendro damage bonus, which may seem like a DPS stat, and it is, but the 4-piece is what we want here. On the 4-piece, after the elemental skills or burst hit opponents, you will decrease the Dendro res of those opponents by 30% for 8 seconds. And this can be triggered even if the equipment character is not on the field. This is perfect for Nahida because her mark will be always getting some damage on the enemies while she's off field. You have other way to build your Nahida, which is the DPS side. And for the DPS side, you will actually want 4-piece Gilded. With 4-piece Gilded, you will increase your elemental mastery by 80, and on a 4-piece, within 8 seconds of triggering an elemental reaction, the character with these artifacts will get buffs based on the elemental type of your other party members. You will increase your attack by 14% for each party member which the elemental type is the same as your character, and you will increase the elemental mastery by 15 for every party member with a different elemental type. If you want your Nahida to be a DPS, you can put this set on her, and she will get both attack and EM, which is also what she wants. If you choose this build for your Nahida, you will need and prefer a character to hold deep wood to reduce the dendro resistance of your enemies. For the stats, on the sands, you will want either EM or attack percent. EM if you are going support, attack percent if you are going for the DPS build. For the goblet, you will want either EM or dendro damage bonus. Just like I said, EM for the support, dendro damage if you are going for the DPS build. And for the circlet, you can go either crit or EM. EM if you want a full supportive Nahida, crits if you want the DPS Nahida. As you can see, I have a mix between those two builds. I am using EM Sense and EM Goblet, but a crit circlet. You can also do a mix between those two like I'm doing, and actually, I kinda like this build. My Nahida buffs a lot my teams, and she also does a pretty good damage by herself. If you are still farming for Deepwood and Gilded, and you don't have good pieces, you can mix and match 2 pieces between the Dendro set bonus, attack set bonus, and the EM set bonuses. For the stats, you should be looking for EM, crits, and ER, and if you are going for a total DPS build, put attack percent there as well. For Nahida's weapons, she has some options. Of course, her best in slot will be her signature weapon. Her signature weapon will provide you a lot of EM, and on her passive, it will work similar to her burst. It will provide you buffs based on your party members' elemental types. If they are the same type as you will get EM buffs, and if they are not, you will get elemental damage buff. And additionally, it buffs EM for all nearby party members. If you want your Nahida to be more focused on the DPS side, going for a crit weapon will be better. Kagura's Rarity provides a high base attack and a relatively high crit damage, and good enough, Nahida can proc its passive. She and Yaimiko are probably the only two who can proc this passive consistently, so this would be your best 5 stars with a crit substat. Additionally, you can also use other crit weapons if you may desire, and for the 4 stars, the Witsit would be your best friend. It provides you a lot of buffs and crit damage on the substat, and Nahida actually likes all of the 3 buffs the Witsit provides. If you are like me and you want an even more EM, an EM weapon would be amazing, and I will specially talk about the Sacrificial Fragments, which has a high EM stats and can reset your skill cooldown every some seconds. For her best FTP weapon, the Magic Guide would be enough because it provides you elemental mastery and will increase your damage if you are attacking opponents affected by Hydro and Electro by 12%. Like I said, if you manage to balance your stats, you can actually go for a mixed build like I'm doing. I have almost 800 EM, with double Dendro I go between 800 EM, and if you look at my crits, I have a decently good crit rate and crit damage. For Nahida's teams, she will work well with any other Dendro characters or any character that can react with Dendro. Some example of teams I can give you is the Alhaitham Hyper Bloom, the Sino Quick Bloom, or for example Toma Burgeon. She is the premier support for any Dendro teams, and you will always have a use for her as long as you play with Dendro element. I'm going to showcase her on the Abyss using a spread team with Alhaitham on the first half, and using a Hyper Bloom team with Ayato on the second half.
The Temple of Wisdom! I'll settle this! Stand with me! My royal decree!
Here you are. A process of elimination.
Wings of Darkness! I see everything! Make yourselves at home! Our bond is strong! Lightning, yeah! Let's play tournament. On, reveal the...
Kamisato art. Suiyu!
This may hurt a little. The Temple of Wisdom.
Dissipate. Let me weave you a verse. Huh? No, my...
Cascade!
Out of my way!
Committed to memory.
The depths beckon.
Rain cutter. Huh? Dead with me.
After this video, I hope you now know how to build your Nahida, and if you know if she's worth going for after the release of Fontaine. She's just got more characters to synergize with. I don't think you will have problems with her. If you do pretend on playing with Dendro teams, you will be the best support and sub DPS you could possibly get. Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to leave a like and sub to the channel. Let's go, we are almost finishing the month, so let's change that 99%. Special thanks to my members, you guys are amazing. And good luck on your pulls everyone. See you all in my next video. See ya.